Hey, welcome back to the Easy Hard versus Hard Hard podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you find the work that matters in your life. If you've been following along, last week we discussed the concept of easy hard, and this week we'll be diving into the hard hard. Hard hard work is the complete opposite of easy hard, which kind of makes sense, right? Since we're saying easy hard versus hard hard. But I want to reiterate that in both of these circumstances, the hard doesn't mean that the work is actually difficult or something that you have to really struggle at to achieve, okay? The hard work that you do is basically referring to work that is done for yourself. And so why is that hard? Well, a lot of this has to do with our culture and society where we have social media or the expectations of others determining much of what we do. Well, finding your hard and pursuing this work or these efforts in your life is a direct, revolt against that, right? It is taking care of yourself, filling your personal needs and soul first, not doing something because someone wants you to, not doing something because you think it's what others expect of you. This is the work that you really want to do. This concept means that, hard work doesn't have to be something difficult, right? It could be a simple alignment with what your values and your desires are. But it could also be something that's difficult, right? So a lot of the times the hard work we don't do or we put on the back burner because the pain of doing it somehow is worse in our minds than the pain of staying the same. Okay, so an example of this is, again, the working out or losing weight. How many times have you heard someone said, I'll start in 2 weeks, or I'll start, when I complete this? Well, that becomes a hard for them because to them, they want to do it. It's what their body tells them to do. It's what their mind tells them to do, but yet there are blockers. And so they fall into the easy hard of just not doing it. And a lot of this has to do with the pain of them seeing themselves working out. They think it's worse than the pain of where they are today. So that's kind of in a nutshell of kind of what the hard is. It's finding that work that you really want to do and then pursuing it. So I know that sounds simplistic, and we'll get into ways why you should go after hard work and how it can help you get rid of the problems that we discussed in the earlier episodes of your purpose, your meaning in life. And once you find your hard and start executing it, I think you'll find your productivity improves because you're not going to be measuring things as you used to with the easy hard because you're going to have this constant measurement of self-improvement or moving towards your goal or just the productivity that you're spending your days the way you want to versus the way others have wanted you to do it. So before I get into ways that we can find our easy hard, or our hard, I want to go into a little bit of the science behind this. While the topic of hard work isn't scientific, so to speak, the thought behind it is. One of the greatest books I've ever read is Carol Dweck's Growth Mindset. And in this book, she discussed that when you develop a growth mindset, which means that you're always improving or looking for ways to make yourself better, versus a fixed mindset where you just believe things are going to be the way they are and that there's no way to change it, this can have a valuable impact into you chasing your hard, right? Her theory is that believing that you can improve yourself makes you more willing to try things, right? So that's the first step to the hard work is believing in yourself that you can do it. Just because you haven't done it for the last 10, 15 years or maybe even shorter doesn't mean you can't do it, right? You've got to change that mindset. You've got to have a growth mindset. You can't be fixed in what is. Start believing in what can be, right? This is a great step to begin the hard work. Another scientific practice that we can apply to hard work is a self-determination theory. And self-determination theory by Richard Ryan and Edward Deci talks about the intrinsic motivation behind what we do. And this is exactly what hard work is. This is intrinsic. This is what you want to be doing. It's not external. It's not for other likes or the approval of others. Like I've said many times, this is about what you want to do. And this is kind of based on three things. It's competence, connection, and autonomy. Well, this is what hard work will give you. The competence will come, right? I mean, competence is something that either if you're starting something new, you're not going to be competent in it, but you developing those skills, knowledge, and abilities, you're going to become more and more competent and, ultimately confident in that skill. And so that meets your psychological need. Like you feel good about yourself, right? So right now, if you're stuck in the easy hard or you're not going forward, you don't have that confidence, right? You look at where you want to be and you're like, I can't do it, right? So that same psychological need that a hard will fill is blocking you from starting to venture out and go after the hard. The other part of the self-determination theory of connection, I would argue that once you start doing the hard, you're going to be connected. You're going to be connected to yourself. You're going to be connected to others. You're going to be just a generally better person, and your connection to things that you may be taking for granted now are just going to become more and more because you're filling your desire, right? You're never going out with fear or disappointment in yourself because you're pursuing these efforts, so therefore your connection gets better. I know I personally saw this time and time again when I stopped living my life for others and started going after what I wanted to do. The third part of the self-determination theory is autonomy. And I think autonomy is one of the most freeing and beautiful things of finding the hard work. You do what you want to do. You give yourself permission to do what you want to do. And you gain autonomy, right? And that doesn't mean that every single day, every minute of your day is filled with what you want to do. But your first step to working on the hard task, you give yourself permission to gain back your autonomy. I observe my dogs all the time. They have the most autonomy in the world, right? I mean, they just do whatever they want to do, and they're so much happier for it, right? That doesn't mean sometimes I have to correct them or tell them to put something down or whatever that could hurt them. But at the end of the day, a lot of people say they would like to live like their dog or be happy like their dog. Well, I'm here to tell you that you start working on what you want, you're going to have that autonomy, and you're going to find the happiness, you're going to find that freedom that you currently don't possess because you're not living for yourself, right? A dog just lives for the moment, lives for themselves. In a lot of ways, I'm saying doing the hard work is like living like a dog. So I know that's just a little bit of a side there. Another thing, people like to talk about finding flow and flow state. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is where your body, your mind, everything just seems to be connected, right? It's when you lose sense of time or you lose sense of, all the problems in your world, and you can just focus on something, right? And this is also an outcome of the hard work. And the science has showed that when you gauge and challenge focusing work, you can gain this flow state, and you can just get this deep satisfaction that comes with doing these efforts. So that's three scientific. There's studies out there. I'll link those studies in the show notes if you want to go look at them more, in these articles in the book, by Carol Dweck. But the hard, while it's a term that's, not very popular, no one's talking about yet, but it is backed in science, right? And it's also backed in my personal experience and observations of myself, as I mentioned during my journey. I think the more that you understand that this isn't, I don't know, snake oil or kind of woo-woo talk, the more you're going to embrace it. But the key to all this is you've got to embrace it. You've got to decide, one, what is your hard? And then two, have the courage, have the freedom, give yourself the permission to go after it. It will require some changes. It will require you to do things differently. You may not be as available to others for a while, or you may struggle with learning the new things. But at the same time, I guarantee you're going to come out on the other side more happy, more fulfilled, and a much better person than you are today, at least to yourself. right? If you're anything like me, you're your own hardest critic. Once you start doing hard work, you're going to be less critical, you're going to be more encouraging, and you're going to be more, I guess, inspired and determined to go after what you want to do. Okay, so now that we've explored a little bit of the science and the background of what hard is, let's start discussing what you can do to find the hard for yourself. As I've said many times, I cannot tell you what this is for you. It's going to differ for each individual who's listening to this podcast. Just as we are all unique, so is our hard. So again, I can give you some, steps to take to start identifying your hard, but it's going to take your reflection and thinking about and trying a few things before you actually find what the hard is for you. So the first step in finding your hard is what I like to call looking for the resistance. So what does that mean? Resistance. I don't want that in my life, right? I know what you're thinking. But in this case, resistance are, what is the thing that you've been avoiding? What is the thing that you've been telling yourself that you want to do or you're going to do, but you never have done it? I think that alone might be the first step that I would advise anyone to take in finding your hard. Let's say you've wanted to write a book, or you've wanted to get in shape, or you've wanted to go back to school. What's stopping you? Is it you don't think you're worthy? You don't think it fits into other people's timelines or their expectations of you? Whatever's preventing you from doing that, take a look at it, identify it, and then begin to overcome it. Because this resistance is what's keeping you from doing what you want. And the longer you stop doing it or don't do it, the more your mind is going to tell yourself that you can't do it or it's not the right time. Shatter this thinking. Go after one thing that you've been resistant to do and see if that's your hard. The second step to finding your hard is to determine if the work that you're doing is making you more or less of the person that you want to become. If any action or activity that we take is not promoting who we are or where we want to go, then it's probably time to change or to reassess it. I was reading a book this week and they said, what got you to where you are isn't going to get you to where you're going. And that's a really good concept to apply to the hard theory, because what got you to the place you are today is great and you're where you're at and there's nothing you can do about it. But will that same work, that same effort get you to where you want to go? The chances are probably no. So there's going to be time. This is the time to make the shift, right? This is time to start something new. And so I think the best way to do this is, what do you want to become? What do you want to be? For me, I got to a point where, my career was going well and everything was going fine on the the outside of it, but I wasn't growing as a person. I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't excited about what I did day in and day out. So once I was able to take a look at this and understand that what I was doing wasn't making me the person that I wanted to be, it was then easy to start trying new things and working to get aligned with, the work that I wanted to do to improve myself. Another way that you can start finding hard work is look for the discomfort and the meaning in the work that you're doing. Like I said, hard work isn't always going to be uncomfortable. But most of the time, there's going to be at least minimal discomfort, if not in the pure act of trying something new, but the hesitation, the self-doubt, the learning that's involved, that's going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. Anything that's worth pursuing is going to take some effort, and you cannot be an expert at anything the first day you start something. I like to say a lot of times Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same applies to us. We cannot change our behaviors in one day. We may not be able to change it in 1 month or 1 year. But when we find that discomfort and something that challenges us, that may be a good indicator that you're onto something hard. Because if something's easy and you just keep, can do it routinely, it's not there's no self-improvement there, right? And it goes back to the whole fixed mindset. You may just think this is the way it is, and you don't see the need to change. But once you start finding something that's a little bit uncomfortable, then you're probably going to get joy and satisfaction as you make progress against it. The fourth step is, once you've determined the resistance and what you want to be, and found a little bit of discomfort, it's time to experiment and reflect on what you're doing. And later on in this series, we're going to really talk about the self-analysis and self-evaluation. So I don't want to go too deeply into this right now, but you got to try some things on, right? It's just like buying jeans. You got to go to the store and try them on, or order them and try them, because, your size isn't always your size. There's, variances in the manufacturing and different brands. So try a few things out. Don't be scared to experiment, because you may not get this right immediately. I know I certainly didn't. I tried several things and they just didn't fit. And that's the beauty of understanding the easy hard versus hard. You can understand, when you try something new, if it's not right for you. Like I've said so many times, you're probably tired of hearing it. The school that I took on, initially it wasn't for me, or it wasn't for something that I wanted, but it became that. Someone asked me the other day, can an easy hard become a hard? Well, certainly. And the same is true. A hard can become an easy hard as well. And that's why it really takes you getting in tune with yourself. So the first couple steps of finding your resistance and finding who you want to be are critical in this process, because that's what you're going to be using in your evaluations and analysis, so you can make ever and constant changes in the work that you're doing. The final thing, and it's much similar to the easy hard, is take an observation of your energy level after you've done the work that you've done. If you find yourself encouraged, inspired, full of energy, even though you didn't get to where you are, you wake up every day excited that you're going to accomplish this work or pursue an effort, that's probably a good indicator that this is a hard for you. If the opposite's true, where the work is draining you and you dread doing something or getting started, it could very well be an easy hard. And this is where the delicate balance comes, because when you start something new, obviously there's going to be some fear and some learning that needs to take place. And psychologically, you're going to have to get over that and know that you're going to have to struggle a little bit and not be great at something until you get better. It's often, the meditation is so popular in our society today. And I can't tell you how many people tell me, well, I tried meditation once and it didn't work for me. Well, you got to try something more than once to see if it works for you. Because if you were great at it the first time, then what's the point, right? I'm sure anything that you excel at right now, it's taking you time to get there. You've developed your skills, you've gotten more education, you've just done the repetitions, right? You're not going to build a bodybuilder physique with one day in the gym. And so is true with the work that we do and identifying the work that we're doing to really find the alignment of where we're going to be. So notice your energy, check in on it. While emotions and feelings are often not a great indicator, once you really start pursuing the hard work and getting your mind into a growth mindset, you're going to become more aware of the nuances, and you're going to be able to separate emotions and feelings over really what your core is telling you to do. And once you tap into that, I guarantee you're going to know this. This is one of these things that people always tell you. When I first started working out and I was doing exercises, trainers or friends would tell me, oh, you got to feel your glutes. Well, I can tell you, as a 354-pound man, I could not feel my glutes no matter how hard I try. Why? Because they were underdeveloped. They hadn't been used in a while. But yet I still kept going on to the process because, everything I read, the science and the exercise articles that I read, said this was the right thing to do. Well, one day I did one of these exercises and I felt my glutes for the first time. And that was such a just earth-shattering moment for me, because it took probably a year and a half of doing an exercise, religiously, till I was able to feel my glutes. Well, from that day forward, I got that feeling, and then I could check in with it. So if there was soreness or it didn't feel the same way, I could start working on that more. And that's what you're going to do with your energy. You're going to have to find that energy. You're going to have to find those emotions and feelings in yourself that are positive and are really leading you forward versus those fleeting ones that are built on frustration or disappointment or anger. It's an art, and it's nothing I can tell you to do. I can just tell you that the more you try something and the more you're honest and check in with yourself and really take assessment of what's going on, you're going to find this. So be patient with yourself and keep working on it. All right, so we're going to talk throughout the rest of the series more about the hard work, and I'm going to start having little, mini podcasts to explain this more, because this concept is so big. I think that it's going to take more than just one episode to get it, but I know time is limited and I don't want to take too much of it. So the key takeaways from today is, find one piece of work that you've been avoiding, the one that you've been making the most excuses, why you're not going to do it or when you're going to start. And I encourage you to block 5 minutes this week, just 5 minutes this week to go and do something. And while you're doing that, take a look at what the discomfort is. Is it discomfort because you don't know how to do it? Is it discomfort because it doesn't meet your goals, your vision? It doesn't align with who you are? And just play around with it. And, if you want to do more than 5 minutes, great. But I think most of us are so hesitant to change that I think 5 minutes is a good start. And then the following week, do another 5 minutes. And pretty soon, that 5 minutes, you're going to start doing it for 10, 15, 20. It's going to evolve because you're going to start feeling that purpose. You're going to start getting that meaning back. So start small, but again, start with the one piece of work that you've been avoiding. I think that's the best way. And just remember, small steps build transformation. Going back to that analogy of a hike versus a run. You're going to take small steps. You're going to move more slowly than you would if you're going to run a 5K on an open road. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. It's uncharted territory. You might have to make your own path. But I really encourage you to sit down and spend that 5 minutes and, let me know how it goes. And again, I'm always available. Just drop a comment. You can always email me at bshelton@battlecatcoaching.com. I'll be more than happy to talk to you and monitor your progress and be your guide along this way, because it's so critical to have that support. And if you don't have anyone in your life, I'll offer myself to be that for you. Thank you for your time today. I hope this helps begin to explain the hard. Like I said, as we get into it more and we start talking about the aspects of self-leadership and, being the leader of yourself, so then you can go out and lead others if that's what you're called to do, I think it's going to start making more sense. And you're going to start finding hey, this is my hard. And, I've been chasing the easy hard for this long, and it's time to make a change. So again, I can't tell you how important it is to be patient with yourself, because this is something new. It's probably a little scary. And again, none of us want to tell ourselves that we've been doing something wrong. But don't be sensitive. Be observant and start working on it. I thank you for your time. And as always, you can reach out to me. Like I said, if this made an impact on you, or someone that needs to hear this message, please share this episode with them. Until next time, I'm Bobby Shelton. I'm encouraging you to find your hard and find the work that actually matters in your life.